How's it going? Thanks for checking out my video. Thanks for checking out the channel, the Voradox experiment. We're going to do what we've been doing. We got another deep dive down the Instagram rabbit hole. I got some reels. I've checked them out. I know a lot of people be like, I ain't never looked at these before. I believe that's bullshit all the time. I think they've always looked at them beforehand. But I don't know. Maybe I'm cynical. Anyway, I have looked at these. They have caught my attention, and I would like to further expound on that with y'all. So, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. I want to have a conversation about this, and really, I'm just trying to raise the voice level. I'm not trying to raise awareness. That's some dumb shit, because this is all common sense. These are all things that we're aware of. A man is a man, a woman's a woman. Kids shouldn't be getting their parts sliced off that it's going to affect them for the rest of their life. Kids should not be taking things to block their testosterone or to change what hormones are primarily in their body. So this isn't any earth-shattering, groundbreaking shit. But there's too many people that don't feel comfortable enough saying it. And the more of us that say it, the more normalized we can make this become. We can make the normal become normal again. Let's make normal again. Anyway, y'all are common sense warriors. You know what time it is. We're just going to get right into this. The first one I want to show you is I would like to let you know what the tax dollars of the American people are going towards as far as White House functions. Hold on, I think my volume is down here. Why is my volume down? What the hell? Alright, y'all bear with me. They showing y'all the good stuff. Look at this. Alright, let's try this again. I apologize. Pretend that never happened. I guess I could just edit it out, huh?
Can we take a little video? Hi, Mr. President. It is an honor. Trans rights and human rights.
Are we topless at the White House?
One of the bravest, the most inspiring people I've ever known.
Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what him said? Him said that they were the bravest, most Joe word that he knows. Braver than the troops in all the wars. You're old as hell, Joe. You don't know anybody, no group more brave. Shut the fuck up. Moving right along. I just wanted to start out with that. Alright, so she was so happy. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Maybe that's to Joe. Fuck you, Joe. Anyway, I thought it was funny. This content creator here is someone I stumbled up on, and you know, I like to listen to what a lot of people have to say. I only follow a handful of people that I feel like I can get some value out of listening to, and trying to understand where they're coming from, checking out their content, learning from whatever they got going on. So this dude here, the Cove Network, he's one of them. He's sharp. So I'm leaving his Instagram link, and I'm leaving his YouTube podcast link in the description of this video. But anyway, the next 3 reels are going to be him running his mouth.
Don't you just love it when liberals show their true colors?
He's one of these guys who, he's like Clarence Thomas, black Republican who believes in pulling yourself by your bootstraps, rather than, to me, understanding the systemic racism that
Do you hear how this dodo bird just brushes over the whole concept of pulling yourself up, grinding it out, working hard, making something of yourself? She just completely just tosses that over to focus on systematic racism.
African Americans face in this country and other minorities. He doesn't get it, neither does Clarence.
Right.
And that's why they're Republicans.
A stupid liberal white woman telling a couple of black dudes that they don't get being black because they don't agree with what she says. That is tolerance, that is inclusiveness, and that is just all the bright shit they preach about in a nutshell, right there.
One of the things that I think about, and one of the reasons why I'm on the show, is because of the comments that were made, frankly, on the show, that the only way for a young African-American kid to be successful in this country is to be the exception and not the rule. That is a dangerous, offensive, disgusting message to send to our young people today, that the only way to succeed is by being the exception. I will tell you.
Right, what kind of a message is that? Okay, kid, here you are. Give it your best shot. But the only way you're really going to make it as somebody is if you are part of the small minority. I'm not telling any kid that. Black, white, Hispanic, who gives a shit? Like,
that if my life is the exception, I can't imagine.
I'm the exception, right? You're the exception.
What I'm suggesting is that the yesterday's exception is today's rule.
right. Right.
I mean, you have talked about this woke mind virus. Yes. And really,
I didn't realize when I made this video here that I put the Elon Musk quote up. So that's good. This is like affirmation, confirmation.
Elliptic terms. I don't. You should explain why you don't think it's hyperbole to say things like it's pushing civilization towards suicide. First of all, what is the woke mind virus?
What does it really mean to be woke today? Much like a parasite invading and corrupting a host, woke operates in a similar fashion. Because to be truly woke, you must set aside all objective facts and deny any singular reality or absolute truth. You're expected to claim systemic racism against black individuals without the need for concrete proof. You also have to accept that biological men can conceivably become pregnant. Lastly, when it comes to climate and the environment, you should worship at the feet of Saint Greta until we achieve net zero carbon emissions. Woke isn't a half-hearted sentiment. It's an ideology that the brain embraces like a religion. Hence,
Oops. Dang, I didn't mean to do that.
I mean, you have talked about this woke mind virus.
I can't speed it up.
And
We'll go
really
through it again.
Apocalyptic terms.
My bad.
I don't. You should explain why you don't think it's hyperbole to say things like it's pushing civilization towards suicide. First of all, what is the woke mind virus?
what does it really mean to be woke today? Much like a parasite invading and corrupting a host, woke operates in a similar fashion. Because to be truly woke, you must set aside all objective facts and deny any singular reality or absolute truth. You're expected to claim systemic racism against black individuals without the need for concrete proof. You also have to accept that biological men can conceivably become pregnant.
Absolutely.
Lastly, when it comes to climate and the environment, you should worship at the feet of Saint Greta until we achieve net zero carbon emissions. Woke isn't a half-hearted sentiment. It's an ideology that the brain embraces like a religion. Hence, this ideological takeover can be termed as a mind virus. To see the full video and how companies are being infiltrated by woke and ESGs, make sure you go to my...
The ESG scores are serious because, you know, one thing that happens a lot, that I hear a lot of people, a lot of the echo chambers, they say, man, how are these companies so stupid? How is Bud Light so stupid? How is Target so stupid? They just keep doing this over and over, and they keep doing shit, you know, they keep adding more problems. At some point, you have to ask yourself, these multi-billion-dollar companies, these long-term established companies that are pillars of American society, why are they doing this? You can't believe that the stockholders and everybody at the top has a systematic. If you believe this, then you probably believe in systematic racism. That they are from the top deciding in these huge corporations, you know what, we're just going to shit all over everything that's been built for generations in this company. We want our market value to plunge billions of dollars. So there has to be a bigger reason. I believe ESG scores and everything that go with that and the World Economic Forum are the bigger reason Take a little deep dive. It won't take long. It's a big deal right now. There's a lot of information that's going around about it, and there has to be an explanation as to why these companies are doing this. They're not all trying to self-destruct. Not willingly, anyway. And finally, with this third video from this gentleman, the Cove Network.
Oh, look at what we have here. The National Institute of Health, and for those who don't know, that is Fauci Central. So Fauci Central conducted a study where it compared mothers of boys with gender identity disorder with mothers of normal boys, or I guess I have to say cisgender boys, I don't want to end up in the gulag here, to determine whether differences in psychopathology in child-rearing attitudes and practices could be identified. Can you take a guess? Results revealed that mothers of boys with GID had more symptoms of depression and more often met the criteria for borderline personality disorder than the control. 53% of mothers with boys with GID, compared with only 6% of controls, met the diagnosis for borderline personality disorder or had symptoms of depression. The scientists created a symbiosis scale to determine the relationship between the child and the mother. And on this scale, they found that the mothers of proband, so these are the kids who are experiencing the disorder, had child-rearing attitudes and practices that encouraged symbiosis and discouraged the development of autonomy. So what this study found is that mothers who are experiencing personality disorder, you know, the disorder that makes you think that you're not who you are just passing on the symptom onto their kids and are living their symptoms through their kid. We knew it, I knew that there was a link this entire time. And here you have it, official study from the National Institute of Fauci. Oh, look at what we have.
Okay, now a couple things about that. Number one, studies in this field are very, very far and few in between, hard to come by, because there's just not a lot of time that's gone by, and they have not compiled enough solid data. Now we do have 5-10 years of this that has been starting to be taken into account, and now they have been able to publish some studies that are, they're pretty straightforward from a science perspective. And they're pretty straightforward as it's turning out, because this is the first psychological study that they've done that has shown this, this is just one from this perspective of borderline personality disorder. But they've done a handful, not many. There's just not many out, medically or psychologically or anything. And, that's why it's so hard. One of the reasons that you have to think of what a stupid idea it is to make this okay for children who have not fully developed yet, to make these lifelong decisions, and we don't even have it. Not that it would be any better, but at least if there was information that said, well, over 5 decades or 6 decades, like they can chart other types of situations medically and psychologically, they could come out with, okay, well, if you do it like this, then your chances of not being depressed, not, this, not that. We don't even have any of that, but we're still telling our kids, hey, go for it. So anyway, I don't know how credible the Fauci Institute is. It is certainly controlled by him and his minions. There's not many other more legitimate organizations that are doing these type of studies. So you take what you can get and you take it with a grain of salt. To me, it's some more common sense that the things that their parents are, they're going to pass down. This happens in every type of a family, not just a family who has parents that are trans or non-binary or suffering from some sort of gender dysphoria or some sort of borderline personality disorder. The fact that they would pass that down to their children in larger numbers than somebody who isn't suffering from those afflictions. I mean, alcoholism, different psychological, and I don't know enough about it to run my mouth, but there are plenty of different scenarios medically and psychologically that are clearly you're at a much higher risk if you are in a situation where those type of people birthed you. So I mean, of course, I think the majority of trans and non-binary kids today are from parents of trans or non-binary kids, one or the other, or they have some very close influences in their life, or their parents are social justice warriors, soy boy type of whatever. But anyway, So we got another video. Actually, I'm going to throw this one in. I saw this one last minute.
4 female athletes want to sue Connecticut after losing to trans runners. Chelsea Mitchell, Selena Soule, Alana Smith, and Ashley Nicoletti.
And this is, again, common sense shit. So when I stop this, sometimes I think, what are you even going to say this for? Because no shit. But these are the real life consequences to real life people who, up until very recently, were supposed to be in a protected group as well. These are the real life consequences that happen to women, and not just women, but young women who are our future. Young women who are coming through high school, who are coming through college, who are going to be the fabric of our society moving forward. These are real time, real life consequences by letting a biological male compete on this level with these biological women.
Say they've been deprived of wins and athletic opportunities.
I raced against 2 biological males all 4 years of high school. I lost medals, podium spots, advancement opportunities. Eventually, I lost 2 All New England awards and 4 state championships to these 2 biological males.
The state argues that the athletes suffered no concrete or imminent harm, but the plaintiffs disagree. Runners say such unfair losses largely impacted their recruitment and scholarship prospects.
It's just important that women's sports stay as women's sports because men have many physical advantages over us girls.
4 female athletes want to sue Connecticut after losing to trans runners. Chelsea Mitchell.
So that's just a little scrape off, but this is happening a lot. A lot of these women and women's teams are standing up, even from different teams coming together and making this known that this is, this happened. This girl had 4 years in high school, and she was racing against 2 biological males for all of those years. Well, God bless her. She still found a way to be competitive around some men. So good for her. And finally, I want to end it with a video that, man, says it. It just says it. That's all. So I appreciate y'all. This one just says it.
Do you and I have the courage to say there is a price we will not pay? There is a point beyond which evil must not advance. He would go on to say that evil is powerless if the good are unafraid. Well, you and I have a rendezvous at destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth. And we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness. We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars. And it's been said if we lose this war, and in so doing lose this great way of freedom of ours, history will record with the greatest astonishment that those that had the most to lose did the least to prevent it from happening. Well, I think it's high time now that we ask ourselves if we still even know the freedoms that were intended for us by our founding fathers. Every generation of Americans needs to know that freedom exists, not to do what you like, but having the right to do what you ought. And that is the freedom that I wish for you. Set yourselves apart from this corrupt generation. Be saints. You weren't made to fit in. You were born to stand out. God bless you. Wow.
God bless you, for sure. We're going to end it like that. I appreciate y'all. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, check out the videos. Like I said, I'm trying to get a couple out a day. And yeah, man, Common Sense Warriors, making our voices louder so more Common Sense Warriors feel comfortable speaking out until we drowned out that bullshit. Y'all have a good night, day, afternoon,